welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, 19th September 2018. I'm Yvette Boynes with the details. The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is currently conducting the second phase of a review of the programs run by the SVG National AIDS Secretariat. The assessments will determine how HIV/AIDS can be integrated into primary health care. A stakeholders meeting was held today with healthcare providers and staff to address the findings of the first phase of the review and to develop programs for the Secretariat. Larissa Pugsley-Kidd has more.
As part of fast-tracking programs to meet the 90 target by 2020 and to end AIDS by 2030, the National AIDS Secretariat is taking steps to integrate HIV into primary health care. At a stakeholders meeting today at the National AIDS Secretariat, Dr. Jean-Marie Rangwamboaba, PAHO WHO's sub-regional advisor, said the Secretariat must look at ways to seriously address HIV/AIDS, bearing in mind its limited resources.
So the transition needs to be well planned to avoid really losing the gains of the past, but still, if we want to be successful in addressing the needs of all people who are affected with HIV, we need to see how HIV services become part of the general healthcare delivery systems that we have in place.
Dr. Rangwamboaba is expected to assess the work of the National AIDS Secretariat, which will help with development of programs. A similar assessment was done last year, where it was found that SVG is falling short on meeting HIV/AIDS targets. However, Dr. Rangwamboaba said that often the advice provided by PAHO WHO has to be tailored to local needs.
Always come with general guidance, but really having the experience of what you have been doing, knowing really your system, is very critical to the success of this process. So what I'll be doing in the presentation really is to say, okay, this is the guidance according to WHO guidelines, but the reality on the ground requires that these guidelines be adjusted to make sure that they can really be implemented and have the impact expected in your own context.
Director of the National AIDS Secretariat, Sister Feroza Roach, said while they are seeing some gains with the current programs, they are still falling short in some areas, hence the need to integrate HIV/AIDS into primary health care.
The issue of retention in care is a big problem with only one centralized care and treatment site. Also, with the introduction of ARVs, people are living longer with HIV and they may be at risk for other illnesses or chronic diseases. Primary health care emphasizes a coordinated and comprehensive approach and the ability to manage patients with multiple health care needs.
Statistics show that for this year, 31 new HIV-positive cases were recorded in SVG. The Secretariat has on record 1,555 persons who were tested positive. More than 900 of those were men. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Larissa Pugsley-Kidd.
Funding for HIV/AIDS remains an issue for many countries, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Today, the Pan American Health Organization Sub-Regional Advisor Dr. Jean-Marie Rangwamboaba reminded local stakeholders that international funding agencies, including PAHO, are cutting back funding for HIV as they focus on other health issues. Hence, prioritizing programs is necessary.
Integration is becoming very critical because we see what is happening in the financial scape of our programs in the region. So countries are being asked to do more for themselves. So if we're running a health system, why should HIV and AIDS become really a particular health problem when we are dealing with all the health conditions in our health facilities?
In the past, the National AIDS Secretariat received international funding from Global Fund PAHO and UNAIDS. However, funds were reduced several years ago, requiring the Secretariat to seek funding from other sources such as the World Bank and the OECS. Sister Feroza Roach said they are looking at other ways of pushing their programs with the funding that is currently available.
Challenges and some of our weaknesses are high dependency on project funding, lack of local financing for research to fill information gap, lack of an M&E team to monitor and evaluate our activities, because so far we are monitoring and evaluating ourselves, and this should not be. Limited HIV and AIDS technical and organizational capacities of some of the key ministries that had in the past a work plan. They're not functioning anymore, and we very much need them to function to provide support to us. Opportunities must be seized to utilize the scarce human and financial resources to continue the HIV response, thus ensuring that the gains that we made in the past are not lost. And on the programmatic level, integration of HIV care has the potential for resource-efficient scale-up of activities and encourage capacity building.
The World Health Organization and the Joint United Nations programs on HIV and AIDS are lending support to countries to help prioritize programs to meet HIV/AIDS targets. SVG was informed by international bodies that they are falling short on the 90/90 target, as well as the target to end HIV/AIDS by 2030. A call has been made for the population to recognize the symptoms of mental illnesses in order to give assistance to those who need it. This has come from Senior Nursing Officer at the Mental Health Rehabilitation Center, Elizabeth Medford. She made this call as staff at the center engaged in a 4-day training workshop, which started on Monday as they continue efforts to bring mental health care back into the primary health system. Sister Medford told SVG-TV News that it is important for people with mental health issues to be able to access health services in their various communities.
We are now beginning our reintegration of mental health into primary care. So we're meeting with all the stakeholders. We met yesterday with the pharmacists. Today we're meeting with the community nursing supervisors and the district nurses. Also those nurses at the accident and emergency department who will be the front persons dealing with our mentally ill patients. But what we're aiming to do is to take the care of mental health back into the hands of the community, so they will access that care at that level. So we're now teaching the nurses their role in the integration process.
Yesterday, what was the focus for the pharmacists?
Okay, the pharmacists, they were taught how to recognize symptoms of common diseases that the patients suffer from and the medications that are used for treating those diseases. Make sure that we have them available at the district clinics.
PAHO representative and community mental health officer in Montserrat, Jennifer Joseph, said the program is important given the lack of trained mental health personnel in the health system.
So the World Health Organization have developed a program where they're scaling up mental health services, and it is done mainly through training healthcare professionals to identify and to refer people for help for a range of mental health issues. So the workshop here for yesterday and the next 2 days is actually to expose healthcare workers, even social service workers, and then the last day we have police officers to identify mental health issues and to make appropriate decisions in terms of referring them for the necessary help. Okay, what is your role here at the workshop? Well, my role here is to provide support to the Ministry of Health, the mental health unit, in training and also in helping to discuss how we can push forward the agenda of integrating mental health not only into primary healthcare services but into the overall healthcare service delivery system.
And the presentation you did was on what area?
My presentation today was to non-specialist healthcare workers, what role they can play in the mental health care system in St. Vincent.
Health Supervisor for the Georgetown District, Landering Brown, said the program is timely. Brown, who is also acting supervisor for the Kaliakwa District, said she believes the reintegration of mental health services in the primary health system will alleviate issues of discrimination.
I think it will be beneficial in that there's a lot of stigma and discrimination with people who have mental health problems, and if people see you come into a regular normal clinic where you're seen by the DMO, I don't think it would be a problem of having stigma and discrimination so much.
And how the session has been going so far?
The session has been good, refreshing in some cases, and new information as well.
Local health personnel are being trained to deal with a multitude of health challenges. The training is being done through the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the USAID project at a 4-day workshop which is heavily targeting the care of children and newborns. The objectives of the project include Zika identification and referral processes and newborn screening for neurological developmental delays. Staff nurse Siobhan Hamilton said it is important for health personnel to seize all opportunities to improve the standard of care they deliver.
I do feel that any training workshop that we are involved in will help to enhance our capability of giving care. More so now, we know that we're in the tropical climate and Zika is prevalent because in St. Vincent and the Grenadines there's a high incidence of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. This training workshop is dealing with just that, dealing with the management of Zika. Some of the information that was given this morning are things that I never heard before. So definitely I'll be taking it back to the clinic and definitely practice it. I am now equipped with a better clinical eye as to how I should go along managing and to know exactly what are the other things that I should look for. And it is definitely equipping us, equipping my staff to give better care, better management, and I am grateful.
Hamilton said it is also important for the public to take their health seriously and implement measures to protect their bodies and the environment.
Oh, the information is quite straightforward. Right? We would have been updated on Zika before, so it's enhanced information and new information, but even the new information is easy to comprehend. And from the response that I've seen in there, my colleagues are doing very well in interpreting and understanding exactly what is going on and exactly what is demanded of us as nurse managers. There's always a role for the public in healthcare, right? It is a collaborative effort. You take care of your environment, especially where it's concerned with mosquitoes, managing your environment properly, proper disposal of garbage and all that, so that it will make our jobs easier. If you detect certain things, certain signs and symptoms, especially where Zika is concerned, if you're pregnant and you see certain changes in your body, you come to the clinic, you inform us, you look out for you so that we could put things in place to help you.
The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court commenced the 2018-2019 law year on Tuesday, 18 September 2018, with its usual ceremonial opening and a special sitting of the court. There were simultaneous special sittings in the other 8 member states and territories of the OECS. The proceedings commenced with a church service in each member state and territory, followed by the procession to the High Court, where the formal sitting was held. In SVG, the church service was held at the Methodist Church in Kingstown. Bishop Gerard County encouraged the lawyers to love each other as God loves them and to hold true to the sacred task of upholding justice.
A favorite theme of Jesus' preaching was justice. The prophets and Jesus clearly practiced what we now call restorative justice. Jesus never punished anybody. He undercut the basis for all violent, exclusionary, and punitive behavior. He became the forgiving victim so we could stop creating victims. He, within commas, justified people by loving them and forgiving them at ever deeper levels. We are called to do that, not only in our religious celebrations, but have that as a way of life or be guided by Jesus' way in our daily living. Another saying.
Following the church service, the formal court sitting was held at the High Court, where Chief Justice Dame Janice Pereira delivered the opening address. The theme was Challenges, Opportunities and Resilience, the ECSC paving the way to a modern and efficient judiciary for the Eastern Caribbean. Students here have been challenged to use their education to become the next generation of entrepreneurs. Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Deborah Charles, dished out this challenge as 33 students received bursaries on the Generation Next Access to College Education program yesterday. Generation Next was initiated by Government Senator Carlos James and provides each recipient with $500 to assist in their education at the campuses of the SVG Community College. Charles said education can provide a means for one to start their own business and determine their own destiny.
The way you move, it should change everything about you. And one of the things I want you to understand is that nobody can take from you what you have learned. What you have learned should also help you to become your own bosses. So after you leave the community college, and I say community college broadly because we know that the nursing, the teaching and everything is encompassed there. So I say to you, whatever you learn there, especially those persons who are doing humanities at the community college, try to use it to develop yourselves. Do not sit down and say, oh, I can't find a job, and so why did I go to school? No. Whatever you learned in your educational pursuit is supposed to make you better. It's also supposed to help you to become your own bosses. You wouldn't be rich by doing it initially, but at some point you're going to develop yourself in a way where you'd be able to help yourself, help your community, and help your families.
Charles said the Generation Next program assisted many young people to pursue educational opportunities, and she encouraged the students to help others in whatever way possible.
I want you to remember the persons who would have helped you along the way. Very often we grow up, we got help, but we forget those who would have helped us. I'm not saying that you must look for Mr. James and give him a $5 because he may not need your $5. But there would be persons in your communities who, without the help that you are getting now, would not be able to make it. And if you remember how you came up and who gave you that help that you're now getting, you're going to think, I need to lend a helping hand to somebody else along the way.
Director of Generation Next, Senator Carlos James, thanked everyone who assisted in making it possible to present the bursaries.
Donors who contributed, who gave of their time, their resources to ensure that our bursary program this year became a success. Many of the persons, some of them who are here, pledged wholeheartedly their commitment to this program. And I want to thank them immensely for their support, and not just in supporting this program, but supporting the many students who are now benefiting from this wonderful opportunity that we have presented for them. I can only encourage the students to take advantage of the opportunities that they have and to ask that they now soar with their wings unclipped, because you are now in a position to benefit from the fruits of the hard work of a wonderful education revolution that we have developed here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines over the last decade and a half. I want to thank you for your patience of being here listening to us very briefly, and as you await your bursaries and your certificates, I want to wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
200 children from the Sandy Bay Government School, the Sandy Bay Secondary School, the Langley Park Government School, and the Pamelarsburg Primary School were the recipients of school bags and exercise books donated by Neil Cork, a Vincentian who resides in the USA. Minister of Education St. Clair Jimmy Prince, who distributed the supplies, said his ministry has worked with Mr. Cork in the past and welcomed the initiative.
Mr. Cork has been doing a good job in getting these items to you. I know some of your parents have difficulty in getting school items for school because you have to get uniforms, you have to get books, you have to get bags and pens, etc. And it is usually very good when other people can donate these to you and partner with your parents, partner with the Ministry of Education to ensure that you go to school with all the items that you need.
This is the 4th year that Cork provided school supplies to students in the area. His representative at the ceremony, Tyrone Burke, said more students have benefited this year and there is an intention to continue expanding the program.
So we want to thank him very much because today we are distributing book bags with some supplies, and in each bag there is also a snack. So every one of you will get a snack in the bag as well. We have distributed 100 bags to Sandibe this morning, 50 for the secondary school, 50 for the primary school. And now we are in Langley Park distributing 50 bags. And when we leave Langley Park, we'll be going to Byra to distribute another 50 bags.
Teachers from the schools said the students who received the supplies were selected based on their needs.
Selected them based on their needs for a book bag. Some of them may not have a book bag to come to school at the beginning of the school year, so those are the children we choose to get one.
So students at this time, we know that school and education is very, very important. And for us up here in North Windward, at both the primary and the secondary school, we are really indeed thankful for any educational related tools that can help to boost up the children and their education.
I want to extend welcome to those who have come on behalf of Mr. Neil Cork who donated these bags to the students of the school. We are extremely happy, and it is so fitting that today we are getting gifts because today it is 16 years since the school is on this site.
The Cork family hails from Georgetown, and the first group of students who received assistance were from that northern town.